Hello, everybody. Good afternoon, and welcome to Meltio's much anticipated product launch event. We are thrilled to have each and every one of you here, as well as the people watching us at AMUG in Chicago, as we unveil our groundbreaking innovation in industrial metal 3D printing. Before we dive into the heart of our presentation, I would like to extend a warm welcome to our CEO, Ángel Llavero, who will share his insights into the journey that led us to this momentous day. So, Ángel, please.
Hello, welcome to Spain. Hello, Chicago. And thank you so much for your travel, for coming here. Today is a very, very special day. Very special day for the Meltio company, because we want to present the new product, the new technology. We thought that is the important day, an inflection point too, for the additive manufacturing sector, because we are present in the new technology can change the history of this sector. We want to have the technology ready for the industry, for the industrialization, real. And the market is waiting this from 25 years ago. Today is this product, the new product, is the result of the Santa Claus letter of our market, our customer, our channel. I would like to say thank you so much. It's the more of the 320 or 340 customers that had Meltio product, because they confident in us from the first day, and it's not easy. Thank you. You are crazy. We are crazy, but this is very, very funny. We are changing how we manufacture the metal parts. Today is very important for us is the team. Okay, thank you so much of the Meltio team, because during the last 2 years we are working very hard to develop the product, and now is the moment of the team. Please enjoying, because the world is changing, and Meltio wants to be the one player more that offer the best product and signing our customer, signing our reseller, and we want to put all resource for it. Thank you so much for you are here. Thank you so much is the present in the Chicago in the AMUG exhibition, and now is the moment, is the presentation for our team. Thank you, Julia, and thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Ángel, for sharing your insights and vision with us. So now let's have the fun begin. So please welcome our head of R&D, Lucas Hoppe, to the stage, who will walk us through the intricacies of this revolutionary technology.
The fun. All right. So first of all, thank you all for being here. What I want to express is that today for us is really more important than just launching a product, right? What we're doing today is we're taking a big step as a company, and hopefully also, as professionals. And, this is going to be a new chapter for our company. So to begin with this, we're going to have to look at, a little bit of a history of, where do we come from? Then we're going to look at, how we got to the current products that we're selling. And then hopefully, thanks to this, basis that we're building in the next 20 to 30 minutes, we're going to look at why the new product is going to be so important for us. So, what is Meltio? Has that worked? Yeah, that has worked. Great. So, Meltio exists to advance the industrialization of additive manufacturing, right? This is a little bit of our mission statement. And to understand where we're coming from with this is we're going to have to understand when we were founded. Meltio was founded back in 2019, and back in 2019, we were just coming off this huge hype of additive manufacturing, right? Every single thing was going to be 3D printed. Your house, we can 3D print that. Your car, probably going to be 3D printed. Your hamburger, also 3D printed. That hasn't really happened, though, in case you haven't noticed. And one of the reasons why that hasn't happened in the metal space is that when we're looking at the applications that were actually going to be shared back in 2019, we were always looking at halo applications, so parts that were really, really specialized, that were chasing marginal gains, and mostly produced with powder bed fusion processes. So in this case, we've chosen to illustrate it with a brake caliper that was produced by Bugatti. And that's a really cool application. It's a fun part. I'm not saying it's not great, but it's probably not going to change the way metal parts are manufactured. And the reason why we haven't been able to make this change yet is because the processes that have been used are really expensive, they're quite slow, they're messy, and they require skilled operators. And this is kind of where Meltio comes in, right? So this is what we were founded to change. Our plan was, well, we're not going to be another company that is going to be focused on powder bed fusion or powder for processes, but we're going to start and only develop laser wire deposition. This is the whole shtick of our company, right? And why is that? Well, because it's a safe process. You can't really breathe in wire, so that's an inherent advantage over powder processes. It's much more approachable because you don't need to have a specialized area to have your printer set up. You can run them alongside your manufacturing and alongside your shop floor. And that's a big step. And then lastly, it's also really, really important, is it's a cost-effective process. It's much cheaper to print something made out of a wire than out of a powder because the raw materials are just cheaper. So that's it, right? We've solved manufacturing. Meltio's bigger than Apple. Linares is founded. You can know where it is on the world map. Well, no, it hasn't happened yet, I'm afraid. Angel, I'm sorry, I was lying. Well, and the reason why this hasn't happened yet is, well, it turns out that this is really hard, right? So we're the first ones that were doing a whole company around laser wire deposition. And it took us a good 3 years of just consistent problem solving to get to the point where we could get any print out of these machines. It was 3 years of constant work. After these 3 years, it took us another 2 years to get to where we are today, so the current level of technology. And that's been quite a process. And the most important thing to say about this is, in these 5 years, the fundamental concept of our machine, the fundamental layout, that hasn't changed. It's been the same lasers, the same diodes, all fiber coupled into the set, and all of that is presenting our current generation of technology, right? So here we have it. We have the product lineup. We have the Meltio M450. We have the engine, its various incarnations, and they're all based on the same concept. And that's why we're grouping this as a Generation 1 Meltio technology, right? And what I'd like to do now, just really quickly, is to discuss a little bit the merits of this current technology, why it's been developed, who it was supposed to be for, who used it, and also, what worked out well and what didn't work out so well. And to do this, because I get to make the rules today, is we're going to be talking about the Meltio M450, because that's been the first product that we've been launching at Meltio, and that's kind of a personal product to me as well. So, looking at the Meltio M450, why did we build it? What was the goal? Well, we wanted to prove that laser wire deposition could be an easy process. It could be a machine that you could just go to, you could press print, and it could kind of work. And then the other thing that we wanted to do with this machine is we wanted to make a turnkey machine, because if you look back at the market, going back before the existence of Meltio, well, you had to buy your components. You had to get your laser head from one source, you get your laser from another source, you get the material feeder from another source. You had to integrate all of that into your own solution. And that's kind of tedious, right? So that's where the Meltio M450 and generally the first generation of Meltio technology really succeeded, is in bringing all of these things together and giving you a solution that, is complete. So I think the Meltio M450 was, in fact, the world's first turnkey laser wire deposition system. It's kind of easy to use. It was pretty high-tech. It wasn't too expensive. And most importantly, it kind of worked, right? So at least it worked better than the state of the art. And I'd like to visualize that a little bit. What we see here is, on the right-hand side, what Meltio, or our technology, could produce before we had the M450 and this first generation of technology, and then afterwards, right? So before we had this first generation of technology, we spent years just trying to get very tiny parts out of the machines. It took a lot of time. We've never made a single part that was heavier than 0.1 kilos. And just to really drive this home, in the first 2 years of this company's existence, I had a single spool of wire, 5 kilos, like the little ones, and I never finished it. We never were able to get through that. And compared to that, to our current generation of technology, it's pretty amazing. It's gotten better than I ever expected it to be. This amount of material is gone in half a day. And I think with this, we can look at, who used these machines, right? So we really improved on the state of the art with this first generation of technology, but let's look at who used it. And if we're looking at who used it, well, First of all, we have universities. Why did they buy it? Well, probably because it's new and kind of cool. And then we have early adopters. And what that shows to you is, and that's basically the market that we sold these machines to. What this really shows you is that, that people see an advantage in your technology, they see a vision there, but they're probably not really believing that this version of the technology is the one that's going to make it big and change the way additive manufacturing is going to be performed on the shop floor, right? So they see the vision, but they need a little bit more. Whoops. Have I pressed the wrong button? I have pressed the wrong button. Apologies, we're back. So this is sort of like the user space that we've had. And what have we learned from these types of machines? Well, first thing we've learned is reliability is probably the single most important aspect of these machines, right? So in all of these years that we've been working on this technology, the fundamental through line is that if you cannot trust your machine and you cannot trust in its consistent output, then you can't really trust the machine, and it's never going to be a viable tool for manufacturing. Second thing that we've learned, keep it simple. Remove touch points, right? If you have to adjust the machine and it's complicated, you probably don't really want to work on that, because then you have to have a skilled operator, and it's going to be more expensive to run the machine. Another thing that we've been learning the hard way is understanding the process is really, really, really hard. There's a lot of dynamics at play, and it's taken us a long time to work out the software solutions for that, to make sure everything is going well. And lastly, and I think most of you will resonate with this, one of the things we've learned is that manufacturing is actually incredibly difficult, right? So we've been building really complex machines, and it's not easy. It's not easy to make sure that all of the parts arrive in the right way, that they're assembled at high quality, and that the output of this is consistent. And we don't really have this pedigree of 20 years of an engineering company that has been used to producing stuff, but something that we had to learn on the fly, and something that's really improved over the last 5 years. So the last thing that we've learned really is that it's not just the printer. It's the whole ecosystem, right? So it's really about the software. It's about being able to provide local support to your machine. It's about all of these things that need to come together. It's about material parameters. And if you don't have these, well, then you're not going to be able to sell a solution that the market really needs. And to talk about this, our product manager, Alejandro Nito, is now going to come up on stage and introduce the Meltio ecosystem.
Thank you very much, Lucas. As you just mentioned, it's not just the machines, it's all that is built around them. The global network of resellers and integrators around the world that are the face of Meltio and are the people that are talking about Meltio. Today, well, we started in 2019 with a group of just 9 people with just one proven concept. Today, more than 4 years and a half later, we have developed more than 16 solutions with a group of more than 100 people. And we are not just buying and selling components, we are designing, sheet metal manufacturing, CNC machining, circuit board, firmware, software, the whole process, wiring, and all of that to deliver a complete solution. And we started with a clear vision, a laser-focused vision, a multi-laser focused vision on what we wanted, because we wanted to enhance how metal parts are manufactured globally. In order to do this, we needed to create from scratch a complete market, a multi-laser deposition head, multi-wire feeder, material research, parameterization, process, technical support, global partnerships, everything all around it. And this image shows why we are disruptors today, because of this wavelength. I would like to show you a couple of graphs that will explain our development during these 5 years. In this graph, we see the exponential growth of the sales during this year, reaching up to 325 systems sold and delivered globally. This also shows the different solutions that we have provided during this year. Please note that until the end of 2022, our main product was just the M450 and the Meltio engine, and that during the last year, in 2023, we were able to release more than 10 solutions. Most important one, for example, the Meltio engine version 3, included, for example, in the robot cell, the software, the slicers, the Meltio Horizon, Meltio Space, the customer portal, Meltio Academy, and today, the Slim Head, Meltio Dashboard, and of course, the Meltio M600. And this is not possible without this following graph. Here we are showing the people that forms part of Meltio as we reach more than 100 people, the black line. And we also created many different departments in order to support the product, from engineering, manufacturing, sales, marketing, technical support, applications, robot, human resources, validations, quality, and all of that rounded with new 1,000 square meters of new offices. All of this to support the solutions. And we are not just employees, we are also a great family that is also formed because of the reseller. And here we have reached the number of 65 resellers, and they are not just 65 people. They are 65 organizations that support people, that support Meltio all around the world. As I say, our products go and travel globally, internationally, from America, South America, Europe, South Africa, Australia, Japan, India. And we have seen news all around the world talking about Meltio. But they do not talk just about the machine, about this new machine that we have here. They talk about you. They talk about the Meltio ecosystem. And you are the leader in wire laser metal deposition. Sometimes it's difficult to say what our machines are doing, what are the different studies that the companies are doing with this, because they are protected by confidentiality. And this is important because we are doing a great impact on how to change how parts are manufactured worldwide. And this takes superlative evaluation because it affects a huge amount of people. But we are enabling this change. You know why? Because with the 325 machines that are delivered, we are able to process more than 500 metric tons per year with the existing machines that we have today. And this number is going to be increasing and multiplying exponentially over the years. We are united on this, with this vision, and it's true that this wasn't at the very beginning. We needed to start with a strategy of divide and conquer. We were focusing in different products, different people, being super specialists, but today we are all much more mature, with much more experience, and we are all united. All of that also thank you to the new offices, more than 1,000 square meters. And it's also because we are all here today. Possibly it will be great to change this photo because of this photo that we have here today. I'm going to do a really small review of the range of solutions that Meltio has, because Meltio has the most complete range of solution. Not just hardware, the Meltio M450, the integration kit, the engine CNC, engine robot, the engine robot cell, and the new next generation industrial printer, but also the software solutions. We have the best slicers in the world for the wire laser metal deposition technology. Horizon for M450 and M600, but also MeltioSpace for robot application. And apart from these two solutions, we have the customer portal, the Meltio Academy, and Meltio Dashboard that we are also presenting today here. Meltio Dashboard is a web-based cloud platform in order for you to check on your machines from whenever they are on Earth. And it is also a new development platform for Meltio. So many things will come. I would like to thank you for your confidence since the start, since 2019, that you put into Meltio, and everything that we have today is not possible without you. I would like to also thank the Ministry of Defense of Spain that since 2023 is also supporting Meltio with the acquisition of more than 26 Meltio units. All of that to enable the readiness of the Army of Spain, of the Sea, Land, and Air Army. It is also an example for the NATO. So thank you very much for your confidence, and I would like to pass the word. I would like to present you the M600. Interview of the M600. Lucas will be continue presenting this amazing product. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Alejandro. So, here we are. See if that works again, so I'm not messing it up again. All right. So, this is the machine that we really consider to be a game changer for the way metal parts are produced all around the world. And before I start with a quick overview, I'd like to, just tell you that this machine is completely new. The only thing that this machine shares with any of our existing products is that it's also using the laser wire deposition process. Every single thing else has been changed. So let's have a look at the features for the machine. And you can see there's quite a lot of them. So first thing to mention, blue laser deposition head. The machine is fully inert. You can print parts of 300 by 400 by 600 millimeters. It's got a built-in 3-axis touch probe. It's got a wire drum connection, so you can use large format materials. You can print up to 4 materials in the same part. It's got a vision system. You can resume prints when they've paused or if you lose power. You have a calibrated deposition head from the factory, so you don't have to worry about ever calibrating your lasers again. You have the possibility to introduce a 0-point clamping system to the machine for highly automated and fast production and changeover in an industrial environment. And we're going to go into detail of all of this feature set. But the most important question is, who did we build this printer for, right? So we've been talking about manufacturing, but really, the Meltio M600 from the ground up has been designed to be the perfect printer for the modern machine shop. Now, why am I changing the concept here? I've been talking about manufacturing. I see Angel being nervous. Is he not going to talk about manufacturing? Yes, I am going to talk about manufacturing. But the way, to impact manufacturing is through the machine shop. Why is that? Well, I have another quote that I made up, but it's also equally true. 3D printed metal parts always need to be post-processed with conventional manufacturing methods. You will never have a 3D printer, at least in the foreseeable future, where you just take out your finished components. You will always need some degree of post-processing, and this post-processing, and be that for industry or for serial production, will always happen in the machine shop. So it can be a productive machine shop, but the printer will need to end up in the machine shop. So with that in mind, let's think about what kind of printer a machine shop would really want, right? So we've been hinting at this before. A machine shop would really want a printer that uses safe materials. They want to have what we've called here, marketing-friendly real parts, and what we mean by that is parts that actually have good properties that are comparable to what you'd get, through conventional methods, be that casting or forging. They want to have a machine that has high throughput because that's how they make money. They would really want to have a printer that has a large range of materials that it can process because, you probably have a lot of variation in this material, and a printer that only works for a single material is not going to cut it. Really, you'd want a printer that is highly autonomous because you want to make money with the printer even when you're sleeping, right? So you want to set the print, you want to forget about it, you want to have minimal touch points, you want to do as little maintenance to it as possible, so the machine is always running and generating value, right? And to generate this value, we also have to focus on a solution that's really easy to use and that's also fast to program, because you don't want to spend the time of your programmers to work on the printer rather than on the CNC. And another thing that would be really wonderful is, if you're already designing this imaginative solution for the CNC shop, is that you couldn't just print your parts, but that you could also add material to something that's already existing, or that you could repair something that's a little bit worn out. So that would also be a big plus, right? And if you want that, then really we want it to be compatible with the kind of work-holding solution you already have in your CNC shop, because you have to take your part that you either pre-machine or that is worn out, you have to put it in your printer, right? So you're going to have some kind of work-holding solution. And then lastly, of course, what everybody wants is, you'd want a printer that takes up as little space as possible and that prints parts as cheaply as possible per kilo, right? So now this is where this feature set comes back in. So what we're going to do now is we're going to kind of overlay the features with sort of like these requirements, right? And the first thing we're going to start out with is the blue laser head. So the blue laser head obviously helps you with safe materials and good properties, because that's something we've covered before, which is mainly down to the wire process. And the blue laser head doesn't really change that. Where it does come in, however, is the high productivity. We're going to go into detail on this in a little while, but for now, just rest assured that the machine is faster and more productive than the previous one. A larger range of material. This is also something that's facilitated by the blue laser head, because you have a shorter wavelength, and the shorter wavelength is absorbed by more materials more readily. And we're going to go into detail about that as well. Another thing that this helps with is high uptime and low maintenance, because again, we have a print head that is calibrated straight out of the factory. And that means you don't have to touch it. It will just work. So that makes it much easier to use. And then lastly, we're looking at a cost-competitive solution. Again, it's wire, right? So next thing that we're going to look at is the inert chamber. It's another nice feature, or another key feature of this machine. And this inert chamber really helps you get good properties, especially on more advanced materials such as titanium, where even a small degree of oxidation has a big impact on the part properties. And there's also some materials that can only be processed if you have an inert atmosphere. So that's another big enabler. And largely, we have a large workspace in this machine. Next thing, we have a touch probe. So we've already mentioned it. Ideally, we don't just want to be able to print the part, but we also want to be able to add features to existing parts. And for that, we need a work-holding solution, and we need a way to locate part inside of the printer. Luckily, the printer has that, which is a 3-axis touch probe, so you can automatically find the part that is placed inside the printer. You can fixture it either through a zero-point clamping system, or you can fixture it through conventional means, and then you can print on top of them. And the fact that it's an automatic touch probe also makes it just much easier to use and makes it more reliable. So if we're looking at this whole thing, we have the Meltio M600, and it covers this whole feature space of the wish list that we really wanted to. And that is without looking at all of the details, right? And we're going to go into these now. But because we're covering this whole feature set, I think we're quite confident saying that the Meltio M600 really is a great tool for the modern machine shop. And it should be the ideal printer for them. So, recap. We have a printer that can enter the industrial area. It can help make an impact in production, but the way we're going to get there is through the machine shop, right? So the next question we're going to have to answer is, if we're talking about production, if we're talking about industry, they're going to ask you, but how productive is your printer, right? Because then, it all comes back to you. It's about how fast you can print. So, and the very first thing that we're going to talk about here is, I'm not a big fan of deposition rate. So, typically, you see printing speed for the industry marketed as 2 kilos per hour, half a kilo an hour, 3 kilos an hour. These values, in our opinion, are kind of meaningless because you don't have the full context. And I'm just going to take 1 minute out of the speech to talk about deposition rate because it's important to me. So if you just say how much material you can process in a given time, say in an hour, you're always losing the information, but at what quality? What kind of geometry? What is the productivity of your system? How often does it fail? And if you're not taking these things into account, realistically, for such a young and immature market as laser wire deposition, which is the place where we all are, you're losing a lot of context, and you don't really have the ability to compare to each other. So what we're confident in saying is that the Meltio M600 prints about 60% faster than the current Meltio solution, or than first generation of Meltio solution. But what really is important to say is it's a machine that allows you to have a throughput of approximately 3.2 tons per year. And what that can do is sort of listed behind me here, right? So this means a single machine like this one can produce 161 of these brackets and 120 of these giant spline shaft molds, or it can print over 30,000 watch bezels in a single year. And that for us is the important reference. And all of these parts you're going to find later there. And I think it's important to just say it is a really productive machine, but we don't want to get into the deposition rate per hour because we're just losing too much detail. So once we've covered deposition rate, the next question that everybody's going to ask me about is, but what about new materials? What about copper and aluminum? Because because I know you've been asking, right? So what can we do? So let's begin with marine bronze, right? So bronzes, they were kind of on the edge of the current technology, and in this new technology, bronze is easy, right? Bronze prints like any kind of stainless steel in the current technology. So that's super easy, it's available, you can just go with it. Now, second up, we have copper, chromium, zirconium. This is a much more challenging material because it's a copper that has, or a copper alloy, that has really good thermal properties, it has really good conductivity properties, it also has good mechanical properties, right? So it's a high-performance material. It's also the material that we use, for example, to manufacture the wire nozzles that go into the printhead. So it's a demanding material. And because it's a demanding material, of course, it's slightly harder to print, right? So currently, with the Meltio M600, and I'm going to just give you the picture or the snapshot of where we are right now, and we're expecting this to improve. Right now, we're very confident saying that you can print thin-walled objects well with this material, but we're not there yet for massive components. And then lastly, we have aluminum, which is kind of funny because we have a little bit of the inverse problem. In aluminum, we can make big parts relatively easily, we can achieve good density, but what we're missing right now is a little bit of the surface resolution on the outside. So that means we can print a part on aluminum, but it's not going to have the same resolution that you're going to be used to with the current technology of Meltio, or with any other material that we see. But don't worry, this is something that we can work on, and something that's going to be, that we are going to be working on. So now that we've covered a little bit of the groundwork, I think I have earned a minute or so to nerd out about the actual details of the machine. And we're going to start with the blue laser deposition head. So what makes this thing cool is I've ranked this sort of like in order of what I like the most to what I think is least relevant. And you can see the fact that it's blue laser is actually somewhere here at the bottom, right? So what we're much prouder of this is a new printhead which integrates the lasers directly inside of the head. So what we've had previously is you have a laser source over here, you have your printhead over here, both have optical components, and then you connect them with sort of like laser fiber, which is kind of like this dangerous, fragile component in the middle of them. And this printhead doesn't need them. It takes all of the optical components, puts them into a single package, and that's great because it makes it easier to maintain. It means if something goes wrong, you just have a single part to swap out. And if you're swapping it, don't worry because you're not touching anything fragile. Next thing that's really important about this is no calibration. I've mentioned it before. You're probably familiar with the fact that it's a multi-laser system, so that means all of these lasers, they have to find their position perfectly in relation to where the wire goes. Otherwise, the printing process doesn't go well. Well, in this printhead, we've been able to shift a little bit how the energy is delivered. We've been able to improve a little bit how the wire is delivered. And because of these two tweaks, we've actually managed to make a printhead that can come factory calibrated. You don't have to touch it, and will always work. And why is this great? Well, if you have different operators, or you don't want to have, if you have different operators, or you have operators that maybe are not too skilled, this removes all of the variance between the prints, right? So you have one printer over here that's going to be exactly the same if I set it up, than if Alejandro sets it up, or if Angel sets it up, right? So this is a big step forward. And talking of this, it also reduces the time that you need to service the printer, right? Because you don't have to calibrate it every time. And next thing we're going to talk about is like longer service intervals. We've improved the wire nozzles. They now last much longer. So they last about 100 kilo now, and they're going to be cheaper from here on out. So that's also great because we're reducing the amount of wear parts you're going to have to do. It has new sensors built into it. So for example, it will detect if the cover glass breaks. It also has an improved process force sensor compared to the current technology. So you're getting more data out of the printhead. It has a vision system, which is really, really neat. So you have 3 process cameras that are built in directly into the deposition head that allow you to have like a close-up view of what's actually going on in the melt zone. And we're going to show you that over there with the printers that are running. And then lastly, we're going to advertise the fact that it's actually 1,000 watts and it's blue lasers, right? So what we're trying to say here is we're doing more speed, we're doing more production than what we've had before with less power. And that's also a good thing because that means your energy consumption is down and that means the process is just greener. Next thing we're going to look at is the wire feeders. This is another issue that is kind of important for laser wire deposition processes and a challenge that has proved much harder than what we've expected it to be. So first thing to mention here, the Meltio M600, it's a bigger machine, it's industrial, so that means you're going to use more than 15 kilo spools, so the machine is ready for that. You can connect a 100 kilo drum package to it. It can support up to 4 materials, right? So we had dual material before on the Meltio M450 and on the current generation of robots. This machine can do 4 materials, so you have more freedom there. It has super strong feeders, so the feeder has been designed from the ground up. We've removed it from the head. It has dual traction. It has a wire encoder. It is much more reliable. Next thing, you have the hot wire capability that you're probably familiar with, so you can print faster because we're able to heat up the wire also with electrical energy, not just with the lasers. And then lastly, we also have a material weight sensor, so if you have, for example, your wire spools loaded into the printer, you know exactly how much material is left on them. Next up, we're going to talk about the workspace. Most important thing here is we have a fully inert chamber which allows you to go down to about 20 parts per million of oxygen. And again, this is quite a big step forward because this allows you to process demanding materials at exceptional quality. Another thing is, we have this workspace of 300, 400, 600 millimeters, and it allows you to print parts, up to around 150 kilos, and we've been pushing this limit. So if you go over there, you're going to see parts that are actually going there in terms of weight. And that is, I think, a testament to the reliability and the quality of this machine. Other things to mention, it's got full linear encoders on all axes, which means you can resume prints if anything goes wrong. So if you open the door, the printer has stopped, you can move it around. Don't worry, the printer will know exactly where it is. It will go back to where it was when it was printing, and it will resume the print. That's another great feature. We've got servo motors, ball screw, high-quality linear hardware on all the axes, which is another step forward from the Meltio M450. So it's just more industrial. You have less maintenance to worry about. And the machine is really designed to perform 24/7. And lastly, we have a built-in filtration system that you're probably familiar with to take care of the welding fumes. And we've also have a built-in dehumidifier because this machine goes to all over the world. And the important thing about that is we want to have consistent environments for our printing process. We've got the touch probe that we've mentioned before. So we have the ability to precisely locate part anywhere within the workspace. We can print on top of them because we have this automated touch probe. We have the ability to have custom fixtures inside of the printer. So if you're trying to print on top of something, or you're doing industrial production where you're going to have your own fixture plates, well, the next step is, how do I cool these fixture plates? Well, the M600 is prepared for this. We have a cooling pass-through from the bed, so you can connect the fixture plate, and you can cool your part, and you can run your production cycles faster. And we have the ability to add a zero-point clamping system. So if you're doing a production run, then the zero-point clamping system really allows you to print just much more quickly and exchange the parts rapidly with your CNC machine. And then lastly, we're also just going to quickly talk about the software for the machine. So as Alejandro already mentioned, this week we're launching the first edition of Meltio Dashboard, which allows you to remotely control and monitor your printers. And the Meltio M600 is obviously native for that. Then we have Meltio Horizon 1.4, which is the next version of the Meltio Slicer that we use for 3-axis machine. This will also apply to the M600. And it has a bunch of new features specifically for this machine. And then lastly, and this is, I think, really important, this machine sets the infrastructure for the future, right? We have a bunch of sensors. We have a vision system. And these will enable powerful software applications on top of this machine, right? So it's a future-proof platform. And we're going to wrap this up a little bit by just having a quick look at the product options. So as standard, the Meltio M600 is going to come with a single material feeder. It's going to come with its chiller. And on top of that, you have the ability to add either a hot wire module, which allows you to print more quickly. You have the ability to add dual or quad wire, so the ability to print with 2 or 4 materials. Then you have the ability to add a zero-point clamping system to it, and you have the ability to add this wire drum connection to it in case you are interested in printing larger parts than if possible or convenient with 15 kilo spools. So, to summarize, we have a printer that's easy to use, that's production ready, it's quite advanced, it's future-proof, and the most important thing isn't really any of the individual features that we've been talking about, but that we're bringing all of them together in a single system that's quite easy to use, quite affordable, and that is ready. So before we finish, I just want to say a quick thank you to the team that has been developing this machine. And there are too many names to mention, but really, it's been a long walk for Meltio. Everybody's been growing up so much. Thank you, Manuel. Thank you, Capel. All the Alejandros, all the Antonios. It's been wonderful, working on this for the last 2 years. And with this, we're going to have a quick video of the use case.
Cementos La Cruz is a company from Avanilla in Spain focused on the development of low-carbon footprint cementitious material to achieve sustainable construction. Our commitment to innovation is focused on the use of circular economy and the development of technologies such as additive manufacturing of concrete. At 3D Lab, we developed 3D-printed solutions for construction. At the Cementos La Cruz 3D Lab, we develop hardware, software, material, and process solutions for digital construction. The additive manufacturing process requires a high control of the material flow, The nozzle plays a decisive role in the quality of the layers, and this requires a design that could only be produced by the additive manufacturing. This is why we turn to unique wire laser metal 3D printing solution developed by Meltio to use a nozzle to optimize the quality of the layers and their position. The characteristic of 3D printed mortar that we promote in Cemento Group, we have very specific rheological properties that guarantee stability without compromising the complete adhesion between layers. This makes possible an unprecedented design and consumption optimization in construction impossible to achieve with the other traditional production systems. At Cemento Group, we developed a unique technology at the additive manufacturing of cement with mortar that guarantee the quality of construction with a low carbon footprint base of the circular economy, reducing up to 90% the carbon footprint of building compared to traditional manufacturing techniques and materials. Building products optimized through 3D printers allow to reduce emission from the construction process and streamline a tailor-made prefabricated solution. We can design parts that traditional manufacturing method couldn't produce. Thanks to the use of the Meltio nozzle, we can achieve the main advantage of the use of additive manufacturing in the cement sector. This is control the position of the material in space, produce a concrete path as has been designed. We gain in construction culture, digitalization, in short, we are front in construction 4.0. This is made possible by a nozzle developed with precision that Cemento Group seeks to implement in the market with our technology. The objective of Cemento Group is to accelerate the digitalization process of the cement sector with additive manufacturing toward green construction. As with 3D printers of concrete, the ability to create a design on a computer and set it to be manufactured directly guarantee the reproduction of that design as is, regardless of its complexity. Its advantage and the truth is that we have seen cost and time saving with the use of 3D printing nozzle to manufacture our concrete parts compared to the other more technology that we could have used, such as a lathe or casting machine, which is much slower and less interactive. With additive manufacturing, we have found an agile solution. We don't have to go to lathe and ask them to make it for us because we don't gain in time or flexibility. Designing parts that enable the company to manufacture pieces that couldn't be produced in a traditional method, improving properties such as durability and corrosion resistance provided by cement. Meltio is a technology that could revolutionize the construction industry toward digital and eco-friendly construction. We firmly believe that we can be a key partner in changing the way cement and concrete are manufactured today and in the future.
I'm not going to leave you just yet. There's one more video we want to show you, which is the professional introduction of the Meltio M600. So here you go.
Today, we have the pleasure of introducing you to the next generation of Meltio technology condensed into an all-new platform, presenting the Meltio M600. 3D printing large metal parts never has been easier, thanks to a completely integrated solution with a fully inert workspace of 300 by 400 by 600 millimeters, smart sensors, multi-material capability, hot wire capability, and a newly developed printhead that is powered by blue lasers. Let me show you how it works. We call it 3P. Plug it in, press play, and print. Come on, let's see in the factory. The Meltio M600 is a highly robust machine that requires minimal maintenance and operator input. And thanks to the newly improved process control mechanism, printing is more reliable than ever. Ready for true lights-out manufacturing. And if the lights really do go out, Don't worry, the Meltio M600 makes it very easy to resume a print once power is restored. Have confidence in the quality of the parts that you're producing, thanks to a host of new process monitoring solutions that offer traceability for the industrial environment. And speaking of the environment, thanks to the high efficiency and absorption of the blue 450nm direct diode laser system, not only can you print more materials more quickly, but you can also reduce the energy consumption of the machine for a greener manufacturing process. It also has a small area footprint, which means it only takes up about 1 square meter of your manufacturing floor space. Lastly, the machine is built from high-quality components, ready to perform 24/7 in an industrial environment. Come on, let's see in the machine shop. Most metal 3D printed parts need to be post-processed with conventional manufacturing methods. And for this reason, the Meltio M600 has been designed from the ground up to be the perfect tool for the modern machine shop. Amplify your capabilities with additive manufacturing that easily integrates with your existing CNC machines. Featuring a built-in 3-axis touch probe and supporting various types of work holding solutions, the Meltio M600 makes it easy to swap parts from the 3D printer to the CNC machine and back again.
Here in the office, speed up your research with an approachable machine that simply works and lets you focus on what's important. The M600 comes together with a large array of integrated sensors, blue lasers, vision system, and the possibility to use up to 4 materials sequentially on our open material platform. We call it quad wire. For increased productivity, you can also use hot wire. The M600 also comes together with a complete software suite that allows you to get the most out of the M600. Let's have a look at the software environment that is delivered together with the M600. Firstly, we have the Meltio Horizon that is delivered today on a new version that includes many new features. Horizon is the slicer that translates your 3D object from the CAD software of choice into a toolpath. Horizon is very easy to use and includes predefined printing profiles that allows also advanced users to get the most out of the M600, accessing full parameterization of the machine. Once the toolpath is generated in Meltio Horizon, it is loaded into the onboard software of the M600. We call it Meltio Smart. Why? Because it translates the toolpath into a 3D printed part. It monitors the process, gathers all sensor data, and ensures and corrects a small defect while printing. Lastly, I'm proud to announce the first installment of Meltio Dashboard, a cloud-based solution in order for you to monitor and ensure the process of your machines from anywhere on Earth they are. It is also a new platform for Meltio in order to deliver the most complete solution to the market.
So to summarize, today we're introducing a system that's very easy to use, extremely reliable, and that requires minimal operator interaction. The Meltio M600 has been designed from the ground up to perform 24/7 in the most demanding industrial environments. Built from high-quality components and featuring advanced sensors, blue lasers, and a fully inert workspace, the Meltio M600 is a future-proof platform for years to come. And the exciting thing isn't any of the individual features, but that we're offering all of them together in a single, easy-to-use platform that requires minimal operator interaction at an affordable price. So why not try out the future of industrial additive manufacturing today and plug in, press play, and print?
So, thank you very much for coming here. And with this, see you later.